time is here. Everybody knows there's not a better time of year. Hear that sleigh, Santa's on his way. Hip hip hooray for Christmas vacation. Got a ton of stuff to say.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Zoobox Goes to the Movies. And, it's that time of year. It's that time of year again. It's happened again. And that's how you know your Christmas boys are back. Back in action. I know things have been slow lately, but we could not pass up the opportunity to bring some Christmas cheer into this world. I mean, there's so many Grinches out there, Paul. So many Grinches.
So I hear.
These
Cheers,
people.
buddy. It's good to
Cheers.
be back on another December night. Talking about your favorite holiday. I gotta say, most people would sport the more traditional Santa cap, the red. I'm noticing that Santa cap is that black felt to it,
Well, you see, I have my red ones hanging up here. I've decided that Christmas 2023 is going to be a cringemas. So I've decided to get what I think are kind of slightly cringy holiday attire. Now, if people are watching Nightcap, you'll definitely see I have a Christmas cringe Christmas sweatshirt. It's really great. It's skulls with little elf hats on them. It's a very, very cringe Christmas. That's right, everybody. You've seen Christmas sweaters. You've seen ugly Christmas sweaters. Well, how about some cringe Christmas sweaters? That's right, fucking skeletons. Yeah, so we're going full cringe this Christmas. I mean, I guess skateboarding Santa's not that cringe. That's kind of based. I mean, maybe I just look based right now. Actually, honestly, I'm looking at myself in the thing here, and I'm like, you know what, Shaun, you're looking all right. You're looking all right. The gym's paying off. But anyways.
Oh my man.
But anyways, so today we are going to be talking about yet again another Christmas classic. It's part of the fabric of the country at this point. They've made us watch this thing since 1989. Of course, I'm talking about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season, the Griswolds are going to play it safe.
Clark, we're stuck under a truck.
Oops. They're staying at home.
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree.
This is the third film in the Vacation series. The film is directed by Jeremiah S. Chechik. It's written by John Hughes. It stars Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, Juliette Lewis, John Randolph, Diane Ladd, Doris Roberts, Miriam Flynn, and others. The logline plot synopsis is nice and simple. It's the Griswold family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turns into a big disaster.
You better take a rain check on that, Art. He's got lip fungus they ain't identified yet.
But no holiday could ever be more deeply touching.
We were gonna call, but Eddie wanted to make it a surprise.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
Hey, well clear of this joint. It's a death trap.
Then Christmas with the Griswolds.
Everybody come out quick. Look at the lights. They want you to say grace.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
This year, let Chevy Chase light up your holidays. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all.
You woo, crack up.
I don't know if I even, I don't like that. I don't like that logline, Paul. I don't like it.
No, sometimes it checks out, right? And then sometimes, they could have put a little more oomph into it,
But we'll get into that. We'll get into why I think that's kind of bullshit. But so, what's your experience with this movie growing up? I don't think we've ever spoken about this movie in the entire 30 years we've known each other.
No,
I don't think it's ever come up. I know we've never watched it together.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you know my background, man. I grew up in the woods. We didn't have cable. We didn't have TV, right? And so some of the Christmas classics that we've talked about in previous box goes to Christmas movies. You know, like I've only really seen like the hard classics, Wonderful Life, yada yada yada, right? This one I have never seen. I've been aware of it from the periphery because how can you not, right? And it's like you said in the opening there, like everyone's been forced to watch this since 1989. So I've known about like some of the gags in there, most notable with the Nicolette Scorsese or whatever, like especially those like those little clippets, when we get targeted through our youth. But like I never sat down and watched it full on through until yesterday. Actually, yesterday.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, yeah. I told Sean we talked about Christmas Vacation, and then I was on Amazon Prime. I was like, sweet. So I've been really mad I've had to buy it outside of a streaming service I'm already paying too much for, right? So yeah, no, like I knew of it, didn't have any feelings of it, no nostalgia tied to it whatsoever, and watched it like I would watch any other movie yesterday, man. Yeah,
okay,
so that's where I'm at. Yeah,
okay, yeah. For me, like, it's hasn't always been a staple, like, but it was around. It wasn't something we watched every year. Like I think I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times as a kid, but since I've gotten older, I've started to like put it more and more into the rotation during Christmas time because I feel like I've started to actually like it more. And I don't know if that is just because of I've just seen it so many times that it almost like I've created my own nostalgic experience with it. Like where I like fondly, I'm like, oh, it's Christmas. This is a Christmas movie. It's Christmas time. It makes me feel like Christmas time. But I was thinking this last time, though, I've never felt more connected to Clark Griswold, I think, than I've ever have in my entire life. And I think it's a movie that benefits from some road behind you, like to really, really kind of understand it. But we'll dive into that stuff. So what were your general impressions? So that's awesome. That's great that you've never seen it before and you had no attachment to it. So I'm very curious what your thoughts were.
Well, my general impression about this conversation so far is that you stole my thunder about Griswold. But
I'm sorry.
No. I had a good note. I had a good note about that. There's some scenes we'll get into, but where I felt, as they say, seen. I felt seen.
Exactly.
It felt good to be seen. Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. But I mean, like overall, just watching like straight through. It's and we've had this with other Zoobox Goes Movies conversations before, where comedies have a hard time aging well. Right, they don't. It's not a lot of times they're just a product of the time, and where like very rarely will you see like a dated comedy that like still stands without any attachments, be it nostalgia, right?
Yeah, well, because comedies are often tied to the times they're made, so there's always these references to the time period that just don't relate anymore. So yeah,
right. Well, that and like what's really prevalent with this was like the slapstick. Stuff, Three Stooges-esque it, falling off ladders, taking their hands, just falling down. Oh gosh, like running in the walls and shit, So you have that, but it was just like an ongoing line of like gimmicks, right? And it was kind of hard like to sit through initially, just like through these gimmicks, and then they rush it up near the end to give in that by the numbers Christmas miracle make happen, and then and then they let it rip, right? And so
yeah.
And not for nothing, then you have the legendary, Chevy Chase, kind of driving it, right? So that was kind of like the glue that stuck it all together.
Yeah.
But I think it's more. You'll probably agree with me, or probably everybody that watched this will probably like agree to one extent or another. But like Randy Quaid, really like bring in there, make it. He was for me like he stole the show.
Yeah.
He was. He was good. Like when he got like every scene that he was in, he just like kicked it up a notch.
After that long drive, we could use a little private time together. Honey, why don't you run and get the kids' things and don't forget the rubber sheets and the gerbils.
Come on, I want to show you the home.
Yes, you did.
That was good, but overall, like just like as a film, too, like it was just like really choppy and rushed, and then
I agree.
And then long. So it was like wasn't paced well or nothing like that, But just like to turn your brain off and like have it in the background while you're making gingerbread houses or some shit, right? I don't know.
Well, it's kind of a series of Christmas episodes, right? Like vignettes about like every possible experience you might have during the Christmas season with your folks and with like your family over and stuff. Because there's relatable moments in every single one of the vignettes that we've all kind of experienced to one degree or another. But I totally agree. I don't think it's a very coherent movie. I think it is like it's just a very loose like skeleton just for these like gags and just Christmas gags. It's just a Christmas gag thing, and it's not really trying to tell much of a story. Like you said, Chevy Chase being the glue that kind of binds everything. Because if anybody has something of an arc or a journey or whatever, or gets at least something happens to him, he's the only character that like wants something and then tries to like achieve it and get it, and then kind of gets it at the end.
Right.
Because everybody else is just kind of there. They're just there for jokes. They're there to, or play the straight characters. They're props. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although I will, but every single one of them though, I will say this though, every single person cast in this movie is perfectly cast, and they all have a memorable moment. Everybody has a line. Everybody's got a line that I will like at least chuckle at.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, but like back to your notion of like well, everything that can go wrong during a holiday gathering can go wrong, right? So from like the last minute in-laws going to show up to cousin Eddie, Randy Quaid's like character, just like surprising everybody, showing up. You know what I mean? Like for all that, like it's all it's all there, right? And so just like what could possibly go wrong? Let's decide like everything that could go wrong there, and like let's try to jam it in there, right?
Jam it in there, yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, even things like the lights and whatnot, right? But then I guess like where to go would be like what we talk like every year, or at least last 3 December. It's about like, well, let's just meet the excuse me, let's just meet the criteria for a Christmas movie, right? So like, do you remember what that criteria was?
Well, it's something that kind of embodies the spirit of the season and like selflessness, giving, charity, comfort, bringing comfort to others, merriment.
Right. Drives it, right? So it definitely hit all the marks. Definitely hit all the marks with that.
Pretty explicitly. I mean, it is explicitly.
Like all I know is like we're going to drive it in. So we're going to have in this 2 hours worth of like tied together gags, right? Then we drive in a message in there to hit the theme of to make it a Christmas movie. And so, but there's other like subtext about it.
Let's hear it.
After like reflect on it too, that I thought it was deeper than I think like what people give at face value watching the movie. And so,
actually, I agree that there is more to this movie than maybe meets the eye, and it's something I've only kind of been able to appreciate as an older man. But like, but I'm very curious as to what yours is going to be.
Well, it's just kind of like when you take the opening scene where they're him and his wife are like brutally trying to contrive into their teenage children to get in the spirit by singing one after, and like there's no reprieve between each song. We're going to go through the whole gauntlet of every holiday song that we know. Kids are terrible, wife's playing along, and he's just going on. He's like, we are happy, we are having a good Christmas, this is going to happen. And then these hillbillies, a truck come by, and even in my goal of like one to have a good time with my family and stuff like that, try to divert them, I'm still going to give them the finger because fuck you for riding my ass. Like, I don't care. My kids in the car. Like,
yes.
I just like the complete, like, just like driving. That's why when I was like, oh, yeah, it was good to be seen because it doesn't matter who the fuck is in the car with you. Like, it could be my infant, right? And I just like, you're not doing that to me on the road. You are not doing this to me on the road. Like, fuck you, buddy.
Dude, Clark Griswold might be one of like the most relatable characters in like recent time American fiction. Like he is like this everyman's like kind of the dream. He was the American dream guy. He's kind of an archetype for that.
Yeah, the last family man, right? And that's kind of like one of the subtext too. So here's a guy that in his heart as we are viewing him is like truly trying like do the best, but every task that he's coming from work to setting up Christmas lights to getting getting the house in order for family. Everything is just going like comedically like wrong like for him, right? And still trying to drive. It's just like one thing after another. A little, some might say a little Wonderful Life-ish, right? A little bit of that theme, right?
Oh, I'm sure there's the little Charlie there, yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit, little nod to the OG Christmas films, right? But just trying to get there. But I think the emphasis, and this is what kind of made me spiral a little bit, is when Griswold's talking to his colleague at work. He's like, "What are you going to do with that Christmas bonus?" So he talks like, "Well, I put a big down advance payment on a pool."
Just hope my Christmas bonus check will cover it.
Oh my God, you're putting in a pool.
I went ahead and I put a $7,500 deposit down on it.
You're the last true family man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, you're like one of the last true family men, yeah. And it just kind of made me spiral, and then kind of look at everything through the rest of the film, like with
through that lens,
like you're the last like family man, right?
Well,
like,
it's interesting that you got there, because I kind of had the same feeling watching it this time, because I was like, because it's been a while since I've like sat and actually watched it. Yeah, it's been on in the background,
right?
Like, you stop and watch your favorite scenes, and then you kind of just move on. But I like sat and watched it, and I also, because I had that feeling just because I just felt that way with him, and then sometimes in my own life I feel like that.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it checks out. But then you just kind of watch out, like everything he's doing is in relation and in support of the family. We're going to get together. I want to spend time.
Yeah.
Even that one gag where he gets locked up in the attic, right? And then
he spends it reminiscing about his family.
Exactly. He's up old family footage, and then what could be like, what it was a comedic disaster. I'm stuck up in this freezing attic. I'm going to wear a bunch of, my wife's old clothes to stay warm. Yeah. And I'm still going to have a hell of a late morning watching through all these reels, right? Which inevitably gets disrupted by the latch to the attic, like coming down, and then then it ruins it, right? But you just see like just that pursuit and just like the appreciation and love and reflection for the time of year, and then like look at it, like he finds like an old Christmas gift that he's supposed to give to his wife up there, seeing there, and gets sappy about that, and it leads him to finding like the whole box of film, and just like, well, this is what I'm doing. So it doesn't even matter if I'm stuck up in this freezing attic. Like, this is like, what a great blessing this turned out to be. What look at this thing that I found, this whole gift I found reminds me, it's from like Christmas, like 5 years prior or something like that, and just like, oh, this is great. Even back then, I still loved her enough to get her this. It's a small box, presumably like jewelry or something nice in there, right? And like, oh yeah, I have this, and then just completely just giving in to his own like nostalgia in previous Christmas. One of the reels is like Christmas of 1955, right? Just pulling in there, and like that did not damper his spirits at all, right? Even with circumstances which he got in there in that situation up there in the attic, it was just coming by. But then it's juxtaposed with the beautiful young Julia Dreyfus, right? And then like her like husband, right?
The yuppies,
the yuppies that live next door, right? And so through that lens, like Last True Family Man, you have that, and then you have like what they would call in today's times in 2023 dinks, like double income, no kids, right? Like
gentrifiers.
Those were dinks before they were called dinks, right? Julie Dreyfus and whoever played her husband there, and just the. Just a juxtaposition of him coming out there trying to like trim down this family tree, which was another issue, right? He forgot the fucking saw. After almost killing the family, like getting to the Christmas tree farm, he forgot that. But then, like, I like how they did, because the next scene is you see all the roots out there. So like, oh, this motherfucker tried the tree to the back of his Volkswagen, and he yanked it out there. Like, this is happening. This is a man on a mission.
He's determined. Right? Yeah, this is going to be the perfect Christmas.
Right. Yeah, but then that gag thing with him coming out of the garage, he's wearing the Jason mask. Jason. That was around the time frame, but just like the thought process of I'm going to wear this mask, but it leaves my eyes exposed, contradictory to the whole point of putting on face protection when sawing something is protect your eyes.
Well, he just went a little. Well, he went a little crazy,
Yeah, that little gag thing, but like when the yuppie husband is like, hey, where are you going to fit that? He's like,
bend over and I'll show you.
You've got a lot of nerve talking to me like that, Griswold.
I wasn't talking to you.
he's like, all the thing to say to me, Griswold. He's like, I wasn't talking to you. Yeah, they just leave, right? It's just like a throwaway, but also, but you like you think about it, it's just like a family man. Like, did he just size him up right there and just be like,
fuck you?
You're a fuck. You're a family man. I'm doing this stuff for my kid. What do you have? You don't have a shit.
Yeah.
You have like a nice car, like you have a nice CD player that I'm through my series of comic events. I'm going to fuck that up too, right? Like all this other stuff. So you may look the part, you may look slick, trendy, and all this stuff like that. You know, pre-modern dinks, but I got it here. I'm happy. You're not fucking my room. I'm going to insult you and talk about fucking your wife right in front of you while I continue to trim down this massive tree with my Jason mask on and chainsaw, right? And so it was just kind of like it's funny thing. It's like throughout the things, because again on that juxtaposition part there, his wife, albeit very annoyed, loving, enduring, still loves him and supports him through all these series of like terrible events that are happening with him. Right. The other couple, Julia Dreyfus, gets inconvenienced even after they finish the run.
Yeah,
she my head to my toe after you shower and like all this stuff.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
she's always emasculating him. Yeah.
Right. And always doing it. So I'm just wondering. I don't know if it's like digging too deep, but it's just like showing this is
I don't know if
this is a happy family, and then this is
I think it's
the exact opposite.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's a great observation. I don't even know if they intentionally did that, but that's definitely the subtext of that. Because Clark Griswold, they are like a very traditional family, and she is a supportive wife. Actually, Beverly D'Angelo's performance is low key really good.
Clark, do you think there's enough room for the angel?
Oh, sure, honey.
She's playing this in a way that is I don't know. There's just something about it. It's so straight, but not at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. There's a moment when they're at the dinner table and she's eats a piece of the dry turkey and she makes this face. She goes, and I don't know. You have to check it out. But anyways.
It's a future Shaun problem. But yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's just it's a straight performance because she's the straight person to Clark when they're operating as a family unit. But it's not at the same time because she also has to work in a comedic rhythm and also has to be able to match the energies of the other actors. It's really impressive to do that when you don't get to be the silly, crazy person.
You set standards that no family event can ever live up to.
When have I ever done that?
Parties, weddings,
Night,
anniversaries, funerals, holidays, vacations, graduations.
Right.
You know, but still are an essential part of that, of the chemistry that makes those situations funny, making it work.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I just thought it was that because the only time, you saw the younger couple next one was in contrast to what was going on as a family union, and even them getting together in the spirit of Christmas and trying to make new memories as a family, that going wrong ruins little inconveniences, just shatters everything that they have. So there's this comparison of this is clearly, even with all the crazy shenanigans and everything going wrong, is still better than your life. Than your life, than being childless and all, caring about more materialistic things and just like that. Because look how quickly we just shattered everything that's important to you by happenstance, just from us existing, right? Yeah. And our with our lifestyle as a traditional family, right? Your nice CD player just got wrecked because we're trying to do something for the house with decorations, right?
Yeah.
Your window got taken out because because Griswold is determined, I'm going to have that tree after his uncle torched up his other tree, lighting up a stogie. Right? He's like, we're getting another tree. I'm going to chop that down. Like that's right. And now it's like it's aggressive and it's like terrible neighbor behavior, but it's like this. Looking at it, it's just like this, like
it's like an aggressive message that like the world that is developing like doesn't care about you. You're not. Right. You're just you are You're disposable. Like I'm building a legacy. Mm-hmm. I'm building the future. I'm building the future of this country. I'm building like future everything. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I'm doing, and you're not doing any. You're not contributing to anything. You're just taking, and you're gonna just be gone. You don't matter. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Then that was a quick way to get there than where I was about to take us to.
I'm sorry.
I just thought that was like to me that was like one of the most like in retrospect, like just kind of letting the movie breathe, Sean. Just kind of like what did I just watch? Like what were the takeaways from that? And that's why I hyper fixate like through what you experienced in that timeline, right? And it all spiraled from his coworker saying that like your last true family man. What did that mean, and what are they trying to say that means through
within the context of the movie,
right?
Yeah, because it feels like it's almost like a statement. It's a statement of like of his character. They're just like telling you, and this probably I'm sure it probably is. I'm curious if it was intentional. I mean, it's written by a generation of people that would have grown up in a time where that would have been like the ideal. Mm-hmm. Like they goof on like Clark, the Griswolds and stuff, but they also love them. Mm-hmm. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like they're not like supposed to be just like dumb rubes,
right?
Right. Like there's an affection in the kind of the jokes. These movies aren't, surprisingly enough, like they're not very mean spirited. They're actually like they seem like they actually, as you can feel in like the from the creative forces that they like these people. And they're just trying to give you something that's like kind of relatable. But this is something that like people aspired to. A generation aspired to be like Clark Griswold and have that kind of life. I think it's so funny. I know it's a little like anachronistic because it's a little tied to the time period, but the pool, the fact that that's the thing,
right?
We're going to have our own pool,
right?
Like that's the American dream, right? Like I have this beautiful house. I have a beautiful family. I live in a beautiful neighborhood suburb, and we're gonna have a pool. Like we're gonna have everything.
Yep.
Everything, every amenity. You know what I mean? Like I am a provider. Like I do all of this for you.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And it came through there. It came through. Yeah, I guess for the time, I don't know if the '80s were a time where everybody wanted to get a pool. I'm not. Probably, but
I feel like that was like it's like a status symbol of like success for like suburban.
Maybe. Yeah.
It still kind of is. I mean, people
you're here. It doesn't add any fucking value to your house, and it's really
not now because now people know because everybody bought pool because everybody did
'89. Let me tell you. Yeah, the '80s
because that's how.
So good.
Because that's how my parents reacted. Like so, my mom's house, she has a pool. She has an in-ground pool. Mm-hmm. My parents are of the generation of people that would have grown up during the time period where people thought having a pool meant that you had something.
Right.
And so that's one of the selling points. That was one of the selling points of the house to them until they had to deal with a pool.
Right.
Now it's like a burden.
Right. Yeah, man. But yeah, no, but like other than that, like the big, like, Christmas miracle is when crazy cousin Eddie, after Griswold has this complete like mental breakdown that he didn't get the Christmas bonus he's going to have, he dug himself in the hole. He's probably going to bounce a big check that he wrote out in support of getting that new pool to fulfill the dream, right?
How could they get any worse? Take a look around you, Ellen. We're at the threshold of hell.
Tree burned down, like the turkey went to shit. He's just at his breaking point. Says, you know what? My wish, if anyone wants to get me anything, is get my boss and bring him down here tied up with a bow tie so I can do this. And crazy Uncle Eddie takes that shit literally and goes out and kidnaps, the president and CEO of his company to go do that. And then, and then it's just like gets there and it's just like this quick dialogue. And he's like, you know what? You're right. Whatever you got, I'm going to add 20%. And then he faints and stuff. And so you got your instant I see the error of my ways.
Yeah,
I am the Scrooge arc for the story, and now I I've got the self-actualization. I'm going to change and you're going to get it. And then, and then who's on and like, la-di-da, at end of the movie. And, but like, like we said, like just as the movie is just like a little choppy, like I get to have it on there. I wouldn't like go out of my way to be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't like, force my kids to watch it, but but I don't have anything against it. It's just very much. I thought the most interesting thing.
I think it would be something that would grow on you because there's so much stuff jam packed into every scene that you, in a weird way, like you almost didn't have the opportunity to like get everything.
Right.
Maybe that seems weird, but there's just so much stuff like in every single scene. But when you were just talking and you were describing the end of the movie, and I had a thought because you had brought it up before, A Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, dude, it's the reverse of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
because this is like the banker showing up and giving Jimmy Stewart the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of the community, instead of his family. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's weird. It's a little dark. You're a slave, Clark. You're owned.
Everyone's a slave to something.
You're owned, Clark Griswold.
Yeah. There is a tie though. It's a Wonderful Life with this. So the I have it written down here, but Frank Capra's grandson, Frank Capra III, is a assistant director in this film.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
They needed some of that Capra magic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go bring it back. So, but no, that wasn't. I guess like in a sense, instead of giving the money back to the community, just to him. He said he was going to, when his wife came to the show, he's like, oh, you cheap bastard. You're always trying to save a buck. This is what you did. Like, no, I'm going to reinstate all the bonuses.
I know that everybody benefits from it, but like also Brian Doyle Murray, I don't know why, but like he was cracking me up when I was watching it this time. Because just the way he's so nonchalantly, he's like, remember that time I was talking about like, maybe like not giving people the Christmas bonuses.
What's going on here?
Remember how I was toying with the notion of suspending the Christmas bonuses?
You didn't. Well, of all the cheap, lousy ways to save a buck.
That's pretty low, mister. If I had a rubber hose, I would beat you. I changed my mind.
Okay, Griswold.
You went through with that. Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. But that's what I love. But that's kind of what I love about the movie is like these little weird idiosyncratic moments with some of the cast, because the character actors, the actors they got were like so perfect. They so perfectly encapsulate like a real fan. Like I know I've met every single one of those people. I have I identify these people in my own life. Right. Like, dude, one of the scenes that kills me. Probably my favorite scene in the movie is when the bulk of the family shows up like 20 minutes into the movie. And as soon as they get into the doorway and they start talking and they're like kind of chit-chatting, catching up. And then they all just start describing all of their medical ailments.
You know, they took a pint of fluid out of my lower back.
You see this mole? This mole on my neck? You think it's changing color?
No. Well, you keep touching it, it's getting redder.
I got hemorrhoids. Can you believe that?
Oh, mother.
Isn't that terrible?
Like... But I was like, oh my God, but that is what happens when like, when the rest of your extended family, oh, my back, I'm fine, but like, oh, my back. And is Doris Roberts, the redheaded old lady. She's like, I had hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids. I heard.
And she's like, can you believe that? Like just the way she says it is so perfect. And I got a bunion, and if you rub it, I'll give you a whole quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's my favorite part. It's my favorite part of the movie because it's just all this overlapping.
Yeah.
Just talking about like the gross stuff that's going on with them medically. They had to take a pint of fluid out of my lower back.
Yeah.
Or I mean, there's so many great zingers in the movie. I mean, like when Clark, the lights don't work, and Juliette Lewis is like, "Come on, Grandpa, don't be mean to him. Like he worked really hard today." He's like,
"He worked really hard, Grandma."
So do washing machines.
Just like shit like that.
Yeah, just like brutal. Like it wouldn't be a deep cut unless if it was from family member, right? That's what makes it.
Yeah. But his like
guy,
go ahead.
That guy that played Griswold's boss, Mr. Shirley or whatever. I just love that when Griswold comes up to him, he's in his office and he's just so uncomfortable. It's like, speak with the help. He's like, I'm about to make a phone call. Hey, put me on with somebody. Anybody.
Yeah.
Now put me on with somebody while I'm waiting for somebody. Yes.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah, it's Brian. That's Bill Murray's brother.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
Brian Doyle Murray, dude. That guy's really funny. And he's all over these movies in the 80s too. Like he played that character 1,000 times, like a guy just like that. But yeah. No, but that's, I mean, what do you have like a favorite like sequence or a vignette, like one of the sequences that you thought was particularly effective or funny?
No, probably like a lot of the throwaways. I think that part where driving underneath the oil truck. That's actually nerve-wracking as hell if you think about like doing that in real life. Like,
stressed me out watching it.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. Like going into there. But I mean, for the most part though, like no, I think more just like feeling like when we're talking about being seen with Griswold, right? Just the constant throughout the film, like these letdowns or failures of like just trying, right? And when like, what do you do?
I know.
What do you do with that, right? And so like every time that happened, that always hit like a little hard. Just,
dude, like one of the
especially the thing with the fucking lights, man, and just like you get all set up and you're like, it's not working now. What the fuck? And just like completely defeated, right? And then so.
And it's always something like that. I love that the problem was something that is exactly what would happen. Like just like somebody has something plugged in the wrong thing or the switch was off or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the brutal moments that like really spoke to me is when he was in the attic and he falls through the roof into the bunk bed and he just stands there and then he just puts his hands up to warm his hands. He's like, oh fuck! Like, and I have done things just like that, like just like break something and just stand there and just.
If I don't acknowledge it, this actually didn't happen.
Yeah, not gonna get mad right now. Just keep it in.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the one scene with his dad, he's sleeping on the son's like top bunk, or whatever. And he's going down. He's sitting there all smiling, and he's just like, "Oh, it's just fine. Just happy to be like on top bunk, roughing it for spending time with the family." Where they see that. It's nuts because his grandson's got that picture, that poster of the swimsuit model on the ceiling. That's some other real shit. But I don't know. What about you?
I mean, like, and just like the Cousin Eddie stuff, like every interaction with Cousin Eddie is humorous. But dude, some of my favorite Cousin Eddie things, and it's probably because I've seen it a bunch of times. So like you just start to appreciate the kind of more the minutia of things. And it's when like Clark is they're all at the dinner table. And he's like, "Hey kids, I saw or just heard the report that Doppler just picked up Santa like flying over Missouri."
Hey kids, I heard on the news that an airline pilot spotted Santa's sled on its way in from New York.
You serious, Clark?
Are you serious, Clark?
Or how about when he's outside, like emptied out the RV? He's talking about, "Hey, shutter was clogged."
Yeah, that's the most famous line of the movie. Shitter's full.
Yep.
Yeah. And I do appreciate though, because it's a very disconnected movie, like we kind of said, but that does come back into play when at the end of the movie.
Yep.
Part of their Christmas miracle that really teaches them about the joy of Christmas and how Clark thought Christmas was ruined, but they were actually making beautiful Christmas memories all along. Okay?
All along. And tied into some patriotism as well, with the senile.
Actually, dude, it did. And that's why I was like, I'm like, oh my God, I want to live in that I want to live there.
Yeah.
I want these to be my neighbors.
Sit in there, like shoots off everything, and she's like rockets red glare, and goes right into the national anthem, and everybody's all cop in the moment. Cops, family, the boss and the boss's wife, all in there, just all in unison doing it. It's just like one of those things with the '80s, man. Maybe this is like pure millennial shit, but it's like, We used to be a proper country, you know?
Dude, I've actually been hearing I have been hearing that a lot lately. Actually, the chatter online. People are watching Christmas movies like Home Alone and stuff because those are movies where they are describing what a boomer imagines was the American dream, the ideal. If you think about the house in Home Alone, it's a very similar situation to the Griswolds.
Yeah,
well, I mean, a much nicer house, but like, but yeah. So there's this aspirational quality to all this stuff. Like they were trying to like it was like the world was like more beautiful, and the aesthetics matter because if things are ugly, you just don't care about them. You don't want to. You don't want to preserve them. They're not interesting. They don't feel. You don't feel connected to it.
Right.
Like that's what sucks so much about like modern architecture and all these things. There's nothing aspirational about it. I've been thinking about that a lot actually lately, and how just like how ugly everything is, and I think it's really is because of like the hold of secularism in the world, and even being a person that's kind of secular, that shit has wrought something really rotten. Because if you go back and look at like some of the great architecture throughout history, it's all like divinely inspired. Right. It's because they believed in something bigger than themselves and they were doing it to honor something that was more than them. And we don't have any fucking interest in doing that anymore. We don't, you know what I mean? So,
no, it's just like checking the block, you know, meeting the requirement, build 4 walls, cap it, make sure it meets code, right? There's no inspiration, right? You're not going into like, you know, looking at the Sistine Chapel or looking at anything that like, you know, that breathes life and, you know, all inspiring, right? I did even I have through my work, I got to go to DC Union Station a lot of time. Like when you walk in there, dude, it's beautiful,
beautiful, yeah,
beautiful, dude. Like very like, you know, Greek themed, all these like statues around there, big arches over there. Like first time walking in there, just like, oh wow, crazy. Then you go into some other like train station, man. It's just like soulless, lifeless. Like actually, like a couple stops right before Union Station, when you stop in Baltimore and you look around, like, what? This is not awe inspiring at all. This is fucking get here just in time to hop on the train so we don't have to fucking stay, right? And so that stuff matters. You know, the aesthetics, everything that matters as part of like, you know, human condition, human experience, just like going there, right? And so if you have something that's just like, you know, bricked and lifeless, like that's not, you know, that has an effect on you more than the average person will let off, right? So
because we don't understand that that's what's happening. We just don't. We don't understand that's what's happening. Like, why are we? Why am I like depressed? Like, why do I like not care? Why do I feel so apathetic about everything around me? Why do I not want to like go out and do things and see things? Like, cause it's just I don't know.
Yeah, man.
So that's that's what people are responding to that when they're watching these movies, because they're seeing kind of like this positive vision of what your life could be in America. Your life could be like this, like the Griswolds, all that crazy shit. Like you said, they had a pretty good week, even though wacky shit happened, and they spent time together, and they were a family, and they were together through it all, through all these experiences.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. Which, you know, is conveyed through, you know, America's favorite medium, film, right? Well, actually, now it'd be like, you know, TikTok videos, but at that time, of course, we're talking proper country time, you know, for films. That's why so many like people across the world want, you know, Final Destination is America, because that's their exposure, that's what they're seeing, right? Is what our exaggeration of our lives, right? And so that's why it's still, you know, like,
well, maybe it's because they don't have any movies past like 2002, because if you watch movies from 2002 to now, you are not allowed to have a positive vision of America. It has to be like this hateful, desolate wasteland where people are being hunted down in the streets.
Oh man. Yeah.
Like you're not allowed to be like, yo, it's fucking great here, dude.
Right.
Like even our poor people are they're all right. Like, you know, not everything's
have it made, man. Even our poor people are doing well. I don't know what your deal is. You can find that.
I'm just saying. I mean, these people go from being poor people in their countries to come here and be poor people in our countries. It must be better.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, build the wall already. Let's do it.
I'm just saying, if I had another McClellan's right now, this conversation would take a hard turn. That's all I'm saying.
Let me tell you something. You know what I really liked about? You know what I really liked about the Griswolds? You know what I really liked about that neighborhood? Look in the mirror, pal. What do you see? What color do you see? Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's so. But no, man. Like it's always like, if I'm gonna watch something that I would not watch on my own accord, solely for the purpose of like talking to you about it. So
yeah.
And this year we went this route, man. And like I said, it's I had fun dabbling into the juxtaposition with the Griswolds and the Dinks next door. And all that, like what that meant, like the subtext there too.
Dude, that was a great read, because I think it's totally supported in the movie too. Like, this wasn't one of your evil Grinch tangents where you try to like shit on Jimmy Stewart. And he's returned once again. He's the only guest that's allowed to come on during this time of year, the Christmas season. I have to bring my Grinch. I got to bring my Grinch because I got to try to change his heart.
Oh my God, man! You stole my thunder. I was going back. It's that time of the year where I watch a fucking Christmas movie for my good buddy, and then I make him mad. So.
Yeah. I think the only time I would say like I ever got like maybe sincerely mad for like 10 seconds was It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Which I've already called. I called you out last year. If you go back and watch our episode of Bad Santa,
you did call me out last year, and there's going to be the sickest excerpt cut up of that episode too to prove the 3 layers of that. But that's not what we're talking about tonight.
Definitely some standing on Miracle on 34th Street. I even recall, I have like a sense memory of almost becoming mad at you when you were fucking attacking Jimmy Stewart. But that's very similar to George Bailey's story in the sense that it's like, this is a man that has to confront his own principles. Like, do I do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do, or do I only do the right thing if it benefits me?
Yeah.
And George Bailey always does the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even though he fucking hates it. And that's a hero to me. Somebody that does the right thing, even though they fucking hate the result of it for themselves personally. That's a good person. I'm sorry you'll never understand that, Grinch, but...
Monster kill.
Hey, you know what? But I think we ended that one with like you went like Pitbull route, and I went like the Greek route. So well, maybe not rehash that. So.
We're talking about a Christmas classic.
They all check out. Jimmy Stewart. He was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit.
Actually, there's a read on It's a Wonderful Life that Jimmy Stewart's the villain because he's giving everybody these subprime like loans and shit because he has no money, and he like trusts everybody's savings with his drunk uncle. Like, I was like, yeah, I get kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. It's a beautiful movie, and I can't wait to watch it this week and cry. My eyes are like a little baby.
Yeah, dry them off with your black Santa cap.
My cringe lord. Have a very merry Cringemas.
Oh God.
I don't know. It's all right. Come on, let's do it. It works.
No, it's slick.
It's a reflection of my dark soul.
Yeah, you rock it. Yeah, you rock it.
I do. It's a nice, it kind of goes well because it's like, part of my head. It's a natural extension. The white and the black, it's all coming together.
It's there. It ties it in.
Yeah. Well, so I really enjoy this movie the more that I watch it and the older that I get.
Right.
I've enjoyed it a lot more because when I was younger, I had more of your feeling about it. I was like, oh, it's fine. It's Christmas Vacation. Like, it's got moments I remember. Like, that's a weird thing about this movie, though. I always forget, like, what the plot, like, the storyline. I always forget, like, when things happen sometimes, like, the order of things sometimes. Just because they're somewhat arbitrary up until, like, the Christmas night. But
yeah. But also I do think it's fair too. Like if you're a dad now or have like some life on your belt, there's some things that'll hit you harder, right? So
100%.
I think I probably would have hated this movie if I saw it, pre-kids, not having.
You would have hated it. You would have had a hatred for it.
Like, I probably would be like, okay, whatever. I probably would have been like, Cousin Eddie was the only good part about it because it's got the crazy guy from Independence Day. Cool, but but just like all there's some life about like you can like some things hit hard, resonate with you more, than they would have. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Actually, it's a really sweet thing that I picked up on this time.
What was that?
Was the relationship between Clark and his own dad.
Yeah.
When his dad like gives like I loved it because he's trying to be encouraging when the time when the lights didn't work.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he's like, well, I love you, son, and you did a really great job, and this was really great. And if you need anything, I'll be upstairs asleep.
Yeah.
And then when he passes the torch for the the night before Christmas.
Yeah.
I was just like, those were if they had kind of built that stuff more into the movie, like made it kind of more of like a real movie, for lack of a better way to put it, and not just kind of like these vignettes, because it does have like a really sweet center to it. Like it does have this kind of very sentimental and earnest kind of core to it, which it's probably because the writer is, which we haven't talked about, is John Hughes, who also wrote Home Alone. Just so you know. So this was kind of his bag, was doing these kinds of movies that felt that way. Like, because Home Alone has a similar feeling to this, but Home Alone's a better movie. And actually, the guy who directed Home Alone was supposed to direct Christmas Vacation, but he fucking hated Chevy Chase so much he refused to do it. Chevy Chase, I guess this is, I think, the time in his like career where he just started becoming like an asshole, like difficult to work with. Because he doesn't do a lot really after this, kind of very sporadically.
Right. Well, when you're king of the '80s, man, you don't really need to do anything. So.
Yeah. Well, because like they made one more vacation movie, but and they were the Griswolds, but it was had no affiliation with National Lampoon's. Chevy Chase just was like, no, we're just gonna make a script called Vegas Vacation, and I own the rights to the characters or something. But National Lampoon's wouldn't do, like, some just great, wonderful Hollywood nonsense. These guys got to grow up and become friends again.
They really should.
But yeah. So, well, I'm sorry that it wasn't didn't blow your mind, but I did enjoy your interpretation of it. If anybody out there wants to know, the 4K of Christmas Vacation is excellent. It's a really good transfer. Some nice grain, some nice film grain on there. The HDR really boosting those colors, really getting into those shadows. It's real nice. It's real nice. But yeah. So, well, thanks a lot, Big Paul. I appreciate you coming on for another Christmas episode. We had to get it in. We had to do it.
Yeah, buddy. We did.
And yeah. I'm Shaun. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll talk to you next time. Whenever that is. Goodbye. Goodbye.
It's that time. Christmas time is here. Everybody knows there's not a better